Hello and welcome to the third video of this series. In this video, we will just focus on this domain layer and I will show you how to develop it. So as you might know, this domain is expected to connect these two modules together, and we will just focus on this module here in this video, and in the next videos we will just use it inside the data and inside the app module. So inside the domain layer, we have a Java folder, and inside of that Java folder, we have com.sopan.domain folder, which this part will be different based on the package name which you have chosen for this project. I will just right click here, click new, and click on Kotlin class or file, and we'll create a new data class, name it notes item. Okay, so basically this node item will be the class which we will use inside our app module, and inside the data module, we will just map it to another class and we'll save that new class to our database, or if we had any API calls or if we had Firebase, we would use that new class inside our data module. But for this class, we will just use it inside the app and inside the domain. And this is basically the concept of clean architecture, because it needs to separate the data from the app or data from the UI, and consider having some changes inside the data module. You won't need to change anything inside the app module. And this will somehow separate the logic from the app and the data. And the domain is the module or is the layer which is doing this kind of task. Okay, so let's go and create our properties. We have a val ID, it's an integer, it's nullable, and we'll set its default value to null. We also have a title, it's a string, which is not nullable. We have a text for our node. It also is a string. We have a date, which is a string again, and we have a background color, which is int, because we need to use some resource files in here, and we need to address those resources which are integers, and its default value is null again. Okay, so we have our node item class, but we need to put it in a new package called model. So we just drag and drop it into the model package. We will create another package here, which is a repository, and the repository will be an interface inside the domain layer, and we will implement it inside the data module. So basically we need to create an interface called node repository, and inside of it we need to create some functions, and then in the next videos we will implement those functions. So basically functions inside this interface will be about adding in new nodes, editing nodes, deleting nodes, and getting the nodes that we want. But basically we will just implement a function for getting all the nodes. We won't need to query any data from the SQL database. Okay, so I just use copy and paste to paste the code which I had before, and I will explain step by step each line so you can understand it very well. So we have a suspend function here for saving new nodes. We will get a new nodes item here, calling it node, and as a response it will return a flow. Inside of that flow we will get a resource which I haven't implemented yet in this project, and I will show you how to do it. And inside that resource we won't just need any data types, and we will just use unit. Okay, so let's go for creating our resource class. We will create another package calling it utility, And then we will just create another cutting class, calling it resource, and it will basically is a steel class, and it has a generic type, calling it T. And inside of this class we will create other classes. Okay, so first one will be loading, and it has this T type, and so basically it will need a property calling it is loading, and it's a boolean. It is for when we want to pass data inside our repository and catch it inside the fragment, and it will show us if the data is loading or it is loaded. So the second class will be another data class calling it success, and it's for when we have our data ready and we want to pass it to the UI layer. So it will just have a data from type T, and sorry, it should inherit from resource again. And the last is error, and it just needs to have a error message, a text or a message, and it's from type string. And don't forget to put constructor parentheses. And basically our resource class is completely ready to use. And if we go to our nodes repository and import our resource class, everything will be just fine. Now we will go to the interesting part of this domain layer, which is related to the use cases. We will just create a new package calling it use case, and inside of that we will need to create 4 classes. One for creating new nodes, I will call it new node use case, or add new node use case, and it will just have a constructor, and inside of a constructor we need our repository, which I just created, private val node repository, and we need to have an operator function called name, which is invoke function of this class. So suspend operator function invoke, and inside of this invoke we will need to have a node item, and it will return a flow resource and a unit. Okay, so we have an error here because of this flow. We need to import coroutine flows, not concurrent ones. We have this one here, and everything is okay. So we will just return node repository and save new nodes and use this nodes item here. Okay, so we have our add new nodes use case. We will just go for adding other use cases. One for deleting the items, delete nodes item use case, delete nodes use case, sorry. And I just copy and paste the previous one. We will just implement the changes. Okay, in here we need to use delete nodes, and this is fine as well. One for editing nodes, edit node use case, and again I will just copy and paste. Update, and this is ready. And the last one is get all nodes use case. And inside of this one, we need to actually return something, which is the list of our node item. And in here, get nodes list, and it doesn't need any inputs. So it's ready as well, and our domain layer is finished. Basically, we have our domain module ready to use inside the app module and data module. Please like and subscribe, and we will just have another video basically in 3 or 4 days. Goodbye.